Hi. So my idea was to make a presentation so I can share more information than in an email. So to introduce the topic, I don't usually share something from my personal life until I am like completely done processing it. But I feel a call to share my story right now, even though I'm still in the process of overcoming my traumas because I know some of you are going to be inspired, and that's what matters the most for me. So, this year has been by far the worst year of my life in terms of personal growth. So, I decided to go on this big mission to tackle all of my traumas. So, childhood trauma, adulthood, intergenerational, and I was served because I had a lot of trauma. And people really misunderstand me because I come from a family who had money. But let me tell you, money does not solve everything. So, first of all, I'm going to explain what trauma is and how it is affecting you. Because people be throwing the word "I'm traumatized," you know, this traumatized me, or I'm dysregulated, and they have no fucking ideas what they're talking about. So that pisses me off. So my idea was just to, share more knowledge on the topic. So what's a trauma? So in 2022 at my life coaching certification in Texas, I was introduced to this definition of trauma by Trudy LeBron, who has a PhD in social work. So trauma is a negative psychological, physical, emotional, or spiritual response to a deeply distressing or disturbing event that interferes with an individual's ability to cope with stressors and or compromises the individual ability to function normally in their day-to-day life. Okay. So now in English, I'm going to give you examples. So there are different types of trauma. So let's start with childhood. So it could be physical, emotional, or sexual abuse, physical or emotional neglect, a caregiver that has a mental illness, an incarcerated relative, a mother treated violently, like a caregiver that use substance, or a painful divorce. So, why does it matter? So, before you say, oh, I'm not affected, and I felt that way when I first saw the presentation in 2022, I had no idea I was traumatized. I saw those slides and I didn't feel affected at all. In fact, I didn't even think I had one. Like, I thought I was just not traumatized. So, the research showed that 64% of people have experienced at least one childhood trauma, 26% of people have one, 16 have at least two, 9% have at least three, and then 12.4% have at least four. So these are also categorized as trauma. So sexual or physical violence and torture, car accidents, house fires, combat or war, serial medical or health issues like cancer, a natural disaster, exposure to death, poverty related trauma, so ongoing poverty, racial trauma, generational trauma, or a workplace trauma. So the statistics show that if we add all types of trauma that I just described, it comes up to 70% of people that have at least one traumatic experience. So if you're not traumatized, then your boyfriend or husband probably is, or your best friend or your neighbors. So traumas affect every single one of us. And how does it affect us more specifically? So people who are traumatized are going to have physiological response while they're navigating their trauma. So nausea, fatigue, dizziness, stomach or eye issue, shame, nightmares, emotional outbursts, or irrational thinking and behavior. And it also affects our relationship. So we all know the attachment styles. So most of us, so the anxious, avoidant, and disorganized attachment styles can all stem from childhood trauma. So the anxious attachment style often develops from inconsistent or unpredictable caregiving, like if your mother was like traveling often and then coming back, so that would be inconsistent. The avoidant attachment style often develops when parents or caregivers are emotionally unavailable or dismissive of a child's need. And the disorganized attachment style, that's me, is usually linked to childhood trauma or instability from caregivers. So in my email, I'm going to be writing my whole story in the past 4 years of how I've navigated trauma. So yeah, I'm inviting you to read my story, and that little presentation was really to explain more about trauma in all the terms, because it can be a little difficult for me to really share that in an email. So I hope you enjoyed this presentation. I hope you enjoyed the read. Have a wonderful day.